Hey everybody, it's me, Russ, and wanted to do a tour of the chicken coop here 7 years later. So I built this 7 years ago. There's videos here on the channel when I built it, and I carved a chicken in the front. When I was a teenager, I used to draw this image on like my peaches and stuff. I've always loved chickens. It was weird. And now I'm living the dream, right? I have my own chickens now that I'm an adult, and yeah, all of my wildest dreams have come true. There's been people asking online, there's Facebook groups and stuff about creating a coop, building a coop, or buying a coop. And so I wanted to kind of put this out there here during the 2020 pandemic. Not a lot else to do. Might as well do a video and share my chicken knowledge with the world here. And most of what you see here has been scraps that I grabbed out of scrap barrels, recycled materials that I used from the floorboard. I actually used a pallet on the front end here to frame this portion here. Just a pallet, a solid pallet. It's made of like oak or something like that. I'm like, yeah, I'm using that. Also, Habitat for Humanity is sort of they run these like thrift store like things for construction material. I got some stuff from there, the gutters, I think, but the chicken wire, I actually found that on Craigslist. Somebody was giving it away for free. I just, okay, I'll come get the chicken wire. Same with the hardware screen that I used on here. These are the things I bought. So I bought treated, to frame it. But yes, most of what you see here, I'd say a good 70% of this was scrap and used or recycled material. The only things we actually bought were the 2x4s, the framing. It was less than $200. It was right around $200 worth of material. And I used treated wood on the bottom, so because it's gonna rot, right? And I used treated, some of these are treated, some of them aren't. The ones that were going to be on the inside weren't treated, but the ones that I knew were going to be exposed to the weather, I bought treated ones. And that's how I put this thing together. It actually has 2 doors now. So there's 2 doors. The reason for that is, and I'll show you, I actually this is a whole door, we painted it. So here we go. Oh, they knocked over their water dish. But basically the reason we did this is so that we've had chicks in here. So I created a divide. See, there's chicken wire here, and I've created a divide where I can cover that with either hardware screen or chicken wire. Pull this brooder out, and this fell off, look at that. Anyway, so we can put chicks here. So we would put a tub down, have a heat lamp here above the chicks to raise chicks. We're not doing chicks this year. I don't know, it's still up in the air. There's still chicks down there at the feed store. It's April, almost May. It's kind of late. But yeah, so put this brooder in here. This is for the front. Some of the chickens hang out here. I've got a temperature gauge in here. So in the winter, we use heat lamps. This heat lamp here is turned off now, but the one in the back is still on. It was pretty cold for a few weeks. And our chickens, because they're warm, they'll lay eggs year round. So this has been really helpful in keeping the chickens happy and keeping them laying eggs. I'm getting ready to pull that heat lamp out because it's almost May and they don't need extra heat in here. On the warmer nights, they'd all be sitting on this. We have 4 chickens now, so they'd all be sitting on this brooder here, and it holds up. It's just right there on the chicken wire. I turned off this light here months ago. So January is when I turned this, at the end of January, early February. We had a little cold snap and I turned it on again, but you don't need two in here unless it's like the dead of winter and it's getting 20s or teens out here. Keep in mind, chickens are birds, right? So they're not gonna die if they don't have heat. Don't feel like you need to, or you have to do this in order for your chickens to survive, because that's not true, all right? Chickens, I've seen videos like guys in Alaska with chickens, you know, and their water is frozen solid in the morning, and the chickens are hanging out and the chickens are fine. Chickens are cold-blooded creatures. They're not mammals, so they're pretty hardy. Some chickens are more hardy in the winter than others, but yeah, chickens will be fine even if it is freezing. But the heat lamps keep them happy, so they'll keep laying eggs if they're happy. When they're warm, they do huddle near the lights. They like the lights. That's why we had to put these on there, because one time one of our chickens like burnt her back tail feathers a little bit getting too close to the light. So it's good to keep them from touching the light. But yeah, heat lamps. So also another thing is we have, this was higher before, but you can see how the water dish is sitting on these bricks, because we tend to try and keep as much, and you can see where the door exits out. So we want to keep, I'll probably pour some more in here. We clean it out once a year, actually. But we'll just keep putting more, because it settles, and then we keep putting more litter, which this is pine shavings. And yeah, the pine shavings work great. And the higher it is, the more it absorbs all the stink. They spilled their water, see? Anyway, these come out, see that? So I built these on, there's a little slider there, so this can just lift right out. And the reason for that is I have another one on the other end. Right now it doesn't have one across, but you can take a broom and just push. So all you have to do is we usually take a toter, you know, one of our yard toters, and we wheel it right up here, you know, right here, and then I'll climb in the coop on that side and just push all of the litter off into this side. I can actually unscrew this so this comes out, but that's kind of a pain in the butt. But other than that, yeah, it's super easy to clean. You know, if you have something like this in place. Tip for you, there you go. The roof is just metal on that side, and on this side, looks like it might have, I don't know, it's just dark. I don't think it's leaking, but this is actually siding, and I got this from a construction site that had it in the garbage. So it's worked great as a roof, and we got the gutter. I think I paid for that gutter, so that wasn't very expensive. I think I paid like 15-20 bucks for the gutter, and it empties into here, so the chickens have water to drink, and it's usually raining a lot here, so that stays up there. So this we've made an enclosure too, since some of the earlier videos, and we can close this door in order to keep the chickens back here. Like in the springtime, we're planting, you know, different things in the yard. We don't want the chickens digging up some of our new plants. So this thing came apart. This was scrap wood, but it was, yeah, this is something I'm gonna need to replace. But these pieces here, it was plywood that somebody had, you know, thrown it out because of plywood scraps, and I thought I could build a door out of it, but it didn't work out. But it still keeps the chickens from running around back there. I got some more siding, if anybody wants it. That was free, extra siding. I think I found that siding on Craigslist, and I used that siding to build this and to side up the door here. So that's something new that's been we've put the siding here. And I found this plexiglass. So this comes out too. I've had to really seal it up as much as I can because rats would get in here if I didn't. So we like got it really close. I kind of bent this so this, once I put this in there, it keeps the door shut. So because rats can, and they'll just crawl right up in here. So yeah, this was the one thing I had to repair and replace, by the way. I actually cut a whole new door from when we had it before. See if I pull this, and it keeps it tight against there so the rats can't get in. But yeah, it got wet and warped, and hopefully this keeps it a little drier. The siding on the front there keeps it from warping out. I had another divider that would go in here, but it seems to stay without falling out. And here's our boxes. I don't know when this fell down. This wiring kind of fell out here, but oh yeah, it came unplugged and everything. But anyway, so we have this one that's on, and then one in the front, the black light that comes on, so they have some light at night. And it keeps them fairly warm. It doesn't get super warm in here. When it's freezing outside, it'll stay like 40 degrees inside here, which is keeps them comfortable. But this is the nesting boxes, and I showed when I made those. This was all scrap wood that I got to make these nesting boxes, by the way. I think this part was even cut out like that when I found them in at a construction site in the scrap barrel. So, and here's how I did just put a latch up here. You got the roofing there. There's my vent, because you want to have some air escaping. You don't want the chickens, you don't want a bunch of methane building in there, right? Chicken poop smell. They do need some ventilation. So here's they're still good and intact, working well. We bought other ones, but I get these at the dollar store, so sometimes they get really dirty. We just throw them away and buy new. And a little DE in there to keep the fleas and mites off the chicken. We put, a couple of tablespoons of DE in there. I've already harvested the eggs from the girls. So yeah, we got this one. So I can put up to 8 birds, but they always switch, they don't tend to be too territorial about where they go. A tip for you, I don't actually keep food in here to keep the rats out. So when the chickens go to bed, it's dark, they don't have food. I let them out in the morning, my wife or I get up early and let the chickens out and they eat. But we don't tend to keep food in the coop. And another thing to think of as you're building one of these is think like a rat. If there's a gaps, don't leave gaps. Like, try and keep this thing enclosed and contained, especially on the bottom, because if there's a little place for rats to get through, they'll get through. For example, our vent up here, they were climbing right through there and getting into the coop. Rats were, and we haven't had a problem since I put that screen up. But it's good to keep the rats out. I built this little door here so that they can get out. It just pops open. Right now I have a live trap down there in front of it. Haven't used it for a while. Chickens have had free range of the yard, but when we want to keep them out of the yard, we just open this up, close it at night so predators can't get to them, and we just let them run around back here. There used to be a bunny cage here. We don't do bunnies anymore. Hey girls. And then I framed this up. See, we got the treated wood on the sides here, and they have all this area under here, which is the chickens have scratch around down there, and the cats use it as a cat box. But anyway, so I like to keep everything off the ground, and we live in a city, so here in the city even, we get predators. And it's a real good idea to have some clearance. I saw some people who lost chickens, you know, and that's always sad and hard. And you buy some of these cheap coops that are on the ground, and yeah, we get possums around here. We even get coyotes in the city, because about a mile, half mile down the road is the big green belt where the power lines come in, and all sorts of wild animals come from the mountains and hills, and yeah, they'll come after your chickens. So it's a good, like, you know, check that out. I got like about 3.5 feet off the ground, and this looks pretty steep, but they go up and down it pretty easy. I built a little brooder out here for them in the summer because they want to hang out, but they don't really use it. There's some eggs there, and yeah, hashtag the little Silky. She likes to put her eggs in there. I'll actually put a few in here. Nice. So yeah, that's the tour of the chicken coop. In the summer, we like to air it out, you know, keep the back open. There we go. That's just another piece of plexiglass I found. Even though I haven't sighted this part, it's still kept up. Like, this stuff is pretty durable. It's kind of ugly looking, but back. But it seems to work out. The bottom was a basketball court. The athletic club in my city was pulling up their basketball court and putting down a new one, and they just left all the, you know, here, free wood. And so this is actually, the chickens have a basketball court as the floor. And the wind's kicking up. But yeah, so the basketball court portion goes, it's like one continuous piece that goes all the way through, and I'll show you, actually I'll show you on the other side. It's just kind of locked up with this. Just cheapy door hinges is what we put on there. Found those at Habitat, I believe. That's a good cause too, Habitat for Humanity. They build houses for homeless folks, and you help support that when you shop there, buying cheap construction material. So yeah, I wanted to show you this. So down here, so again, you can lift this up, and then underneath, see that? I found this at, or was it Habitat? We might have got that at Habitat. I'm gonna have to wash my hands. Anyway, this is like a linoleum, you know? It's that fake vinyl stuff that you put on a kitchen or bathroom floor. And the reason I use this is because it doesn't stick. And that's something we learned a few years into this. So again, this is 7 years old, this coop, and 1 year we just had the basketball court thing here, right? Just the hardwood. We thought that would be fine, but it would stick to it. It'd be like clumpy, nasty. But once we put this linoleum stuff down, right? This vinyl flooring, yeah, I just sweep it out, easy to clean. So yeah, open this right up. I'm gonna have to get them some more water. I think they dumped it over. Might as well while I'm in here, right? Chicken eye view. This is what the chickens see. This is the broom I use. I'll push it back. So yeah, the roof, you can see the other part of the roof up there, the flashing. And again, I just put steel roofing so you can see under here. Yeah, it's just framed in and keeps the rain out, still isn't leaking. Another thing about the roof I wanted to point out is from this angle you can see it's at a slight incline, right? Just slightly, so the snow can slide off. And again, we have those heat lamps in there in the wintertime, which keeps the snow melting, and you don't want a flat roof
You want it at just a bit of an incline so it doesn't cave in under the weight in case the lights go out or something. And yeah, there's a lot of snow.
And this one kind of hangs right here. Screwed it up there. And but it's been a durable little coop. In one of the videos I talked about having plans that if you just take a screenshot, I guess I show the plan. I don't know what happened to the plans. I just wrote them down on a piece of paper. I'm not a big planny guy. I didn't draw a blueprint or anything when I built this. I just had an idea, framed it out, measured it out, bought the wood and set it up. Not a whole lot of engineering went into building this coop. A little bit, but we found this at a machine shop over by Boeing. One of the Boeing contractors had it just sitting out there for free, and we actually raised chicks in here. But I keep the feed, and we have a little scratch thing there. I keep the feed locked up so the rats don't get it. That's a bad thing about chickens, is they tend to attract rats. And I've live trapped some of the rats. We do live traps because there's a park not too far from here called Lowell River Park, and there's eagles and hawks and stuff that nest in the trees down there. So I'm hoping one of these days I'm gonna open up one of those live traps and feed an eagle and get that on video. That would be pretty cool. So there you go, the chicken coop tour.
So there you go, 7 years later, the tour of the old chicken coop. And thanks. If this video's helped you in your life, please hit that subscribe button.
Peck the like button, right?
Little thumbs up button, if you could give that a peck. We would appreciate that. Thank you. You're not getting a plasma screen. You're just not. I don't know, you guys. What do you guys like the coop? Works out for you?